Hello, I'm Chris Menard. In today's video, I'm going to explain, are you in the middle class and what is the middle class? I'm going to use data from the US Census Bureau. I'm going to pull up a really cool calculator that you'll have access to when this is over. So, before we figure out are you in the middle class, there is a number that we need to know, and that number is what is the median household income, and this changes every year. I have pulled up the US Census Bureau's website. If you notice that first bullet under highlights, 70,784 in 2021, and it goes on to say it's not different from the previous year, 2020, or not much different down below, but there's some tables you can download in Excel if you're interested in more of this information. So there are two numbers you need to use with whatever the median household income is. So now we're going to pop over into Microsoft Excel. I have Excel running. I'm in cell D1 showing you that 70,784. The two numbers we're going to use are 0.67 and the number 2. In case you're wondering why we're using those two numbers, that is what the definition of the middle class is. It is 2/3 of the median income, and it is 2. That is your range, basically. So 2/3 of 70,784 is 47,192. And the number 2 is 141,568. I threw this in a chart just so you can see that it can be charted, not a problem. That is the range for the middle class. Now, there are two other factors that tie in, though. These two numbers don't change, the 0.67 and the 2. The other two numbers could factor in and change if you're in the middle class or not, even at the same household income. They are the number of people in your house. So based on these numbers, the US Census Bureau came up with 2.5 as the average number of people per household. For middle class, they rounded that up to 3 because you can't say I have 2.5 people in my house. So they said it's 3. The other one is, where do you live geographically? Because living in one city could be a huge difference from living in another city. So let's go and take a look at these using a really cool calculator right now. I'm over on the website, PRC Research Center right here. If I scroll down, if you notice, I've got California in here. Let's go put in where I currently live. I was just playing around in here. There are all the states. I'm going to put in Georgia. Your region within your state, these regions are coming from the Office of Management and Budget. I'm going to go with Atlanta, Sandy Springs, Roswell, because I live in Cobb County is the county. City is Marietta, which is in Cobb County. I made this up. What is your household income before taxes? I put in 53,000, and I'm going to leave this as 3 people since that's what it's based on. When I hit calculate, over here to the right, it runs the calculation. It says, hey, you are in the middle income tier. If you notice, there's upper, middle, and lower. In each one of those groups or tiers, the numbers on the top, 23, 53, and 24, you add those up, that is 100%. I wanted to check that. And then if you add up the numbers on the bottom, 19, 52, and 29 is also 100%. So these are all percentages. The top number is the number where I currently live, and the bottom number is the US average. That is all that's showing you here. So I said there's two things that can change this. One, number of people in your household. So let's go play with this for a second. I am making this up. If I leave my household income at 53,000 and change this to 6 people and hit calculate, I just went from the middle to the lower. So that is how that works. I'm going to go back to 3 and hit calculate again. So the number of people in your household could change this. The second item that could change this is where you live. This has to do with your cost of living adjustment. I'm in Georgia. I'm going to change this to California, and I'm going to pick somewhere expensive. Let's go to San Francisco. Oakland, Hayward. Same numbers, calculate. Just went from middle to lower tier again. So those are the two factors that can tie in here. So just in case you're wondering, back to the US Census Bureau, because I was playing around in here, all the way to the top, US Census Bureau. I put in my city over on the right. I put in San Francisco next to it. I scrolled down, so I was trying to figure this out. And there we go. We have a section for income, and there's your median household income in 2021. For San Francisco is $126,000, and for where I live is $62,000. So how does that factor in back on my Excel file? Excel is running again. This is the national numbers. They don't change. But let's say, I'm making this up, let's say that you live in a city that is below, the cost of living is below the national average, and it's below by 20%. You would just simply take that number times 0.80, autofill down. So now, if your income based on 3 people is between 37 and 113, you are middle class. Go the opposite way, and wherever you live is significantly higher than the median. And again, I'm making this up. Let's say that it is 40% more. 1.40. Autofill down. So then, depending on that city you live in, that's 40% more. Again, based on 3 people, your middle tier is 66,000 up to 198. So it does move a little bit based on the number of people in your household and based on where you live. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it beneficial. I'll put links to the calculator that I used also down below in the description, and all the links to the US Census Bureau down in the description. Feel free to subscribe, ring the bell. If you have any questions, throw them down below. I'm not an expert at this, but I'm good at figuring stuff out. Appreciate your time. Have a great day.